Welcome back to Transcriber from Reddit. Today's topic comes from the subreddit exLutheran, posted by user Don't Eat the Cookies Mom. The title of the post reads, WELS professor that married teenage student nominated for position at Michigan Lutheran Seminary. The body of the post is a screenshot that was taken. And the screenshot is of something called nomination lists for Michigan Lutheran Seminary. I don't know exactly where this might have been pulled up, if this was a WELS.net page or if this was a Michigan Lutheran Seminary or Michigan Lutheran District or something similar like that. But that's neither here nor there. Underneath Michigan Lutheran Seminary is a section of text that says, the following people have been nominated for the position of Professor of Spanish at Michigan Lutheran Seminary, Saginaw, Michigan. Underneath the category of Professor of Spanish reads a list of names, which I will read. Mr. Mish Alesa from Phoenix, Arizona. Reverend Hernandez Delo Jr., St. Joseph, Michigan. Mrs. Erin Holman from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Reverend Andrew Johnston from Doral, Florida. Mr. Nathan Korber from Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. Reverend Ryan Colander from Dearborn, Michigan. Reverend Brad Krause from Appleton, Wisconsin. Reverend Stephen Kuhl from Powell, Ohio. Mrs. Erin Notling from Watertown, Wisconsin. Mr. Corey Olson from Maplewood, Minnesota. Mrs. Haley Santos from New Ulm, Minnesota. And finally, at the way bottom of the list is Dr. Andrew Schmiege from West Bend, Wisconsin. The text at the bottom of the image reads, Andrew Schmiege was the professor at Wisconsin Lutheran College that groomed a teenager and convinced her to move in with him. In the comments down below, I will link the video that I made regarding that incident. But for the purposes of this video, I will summarize it. Dr. Schmiege, who is a professor at Wisconsin Lutheran College, encountered an 18-year-old student in one of his classes. He convinced her that she should share his apartment with him. Why? Because her living situation was not the best. Why wasn't it the best, you might ask? Well, because mom and boyfriend were cohabitating in the same house together. Mom might have been rude to daughter a couple times along with her boyfriend at the time, but that was about it. You might say that's not grounds to move in with an unmarried professor from an explicitly conservative religious school, and you would be right in thinking that. However, Andrew not only convinced her to move in with him, but sometime after that was, I'm going to say, allegedly discovered by a bunch of people, and allegedly pressure was put on him. He and the girl married, and allegedly the girl also dropped her studies at Wisconsin Lutheran College afterwards. The only reason was because of the pressure, because it was not looking like a good situation. And everyone, yes, I can hear you all say, no shit, Sherlock. Looking at this list, you might be tempted to ask, why is this significant? Dr. Andrew Schmiege, yes, he abused his power over one of his students, married her, and now, theoretically, is stuck with her the rest of his life. Isn't that enough? Well, as far as anyone knows, he never was officially or unofficially reprimanded for his behavior or had to suffer any kind of penalties for his abuse of power and position at Wisconsin Lutheran College. And sure, just because he is on a nomination list with 11 other people for the position of Professor of Spanish, and that doesn't necessarily mean he will get the position, The fact that he's being considered for a position at a seminary is concerning because we, as far as any of us know, he never faced actual penalties for his abuse of power and position. Why should he even be on the nomination list to teach Spanish at Michigan Lutheran Seminary in the first place? He shouldn't be. He abused his position of power and apparently got away with it. Why should he be awarded a different position, this time with more authority and more power behind it? You might say, well, he abused it once but has learned from his mistakes and will never do it again. That's not the point. The point is he abused his position of power once. Nothing officially ever happened to him. So, as far as we can tell, he hasn't learned anything, and now he's going to be granted more power and more authority. That's not what you should be granting to someone who abused that power and authority in the first place. But say he was repentant and he recognized the wrong he did. He abused it once before and everybody knows about it. Either now, after the fact, after it already happened, or when it was happening. He damaged his reputation. Just because he's repentant does not mean we automatically assume, or should we try to assume, that his reputation is magically repaired. He fucked around and found out. The proper thing to do, if you're not going to replace him, is to either reduce his status at the university, have someone monitor him for at least 5 years afterwards, or you make him work to regain his doctor status. And that's assuming you don't just cut ties with him and let him go, and then make it hard for him to regain a position in ministry in the first place. What you should not be doing is ignoring this professor's behavior, trying to sweep it under the rug, and then putting him on a list of people to be considered for the position of professor of Spanish at a seminary, which would be a place where people would automatically assume that more is going to be expected and demanded of you. If you already failed those high standards once, you should not be put in a position to fail those high standards again. At least one person was hurt the first time around. If he's put into a position like this, there's the opportunity for more souls, more people to be hurt by his actions. I would like to thank user Don't Eat the Cookies Mom for bringing this to the exLutheran subreddit. That concludes today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.
But some of the shepherds have pastured themselves on their sheep. So he has come out against them and scattered his people of faith. But there still is one faith, one hope, and one baptism, one God and Father of all. There is one church.